Throughout the years, Luffy has fought a ton of seemingly invincible opponents, as people like Crocodile, Doflamingo, Katakuri are top tier threats, and yet none of these characters are even close to the real powerhouses of One Piece. That's because these 24 characters are truly in a league of their own, as every single one of them is so powerful they could change the fate of the entire One Piece world solely on their own. Not only that, but the top 5 strongest characters in One Piece are just so beyond broken, they single-handedly could actually destroy the entire world if they really wanted to. But let's start with the most recent addition to this very exclusive club of the absolute strongest, with the magnificent, bold, and handsome Straw Hat Chef Blackleg Sanji. Now, I probably don't have to tell you that Sanji is an incredibly powerful fighter, because after awakening to his Germa DNA, he has been one of the most durable characters in the entire story. Able to now take powerful blows from the likes of Queen and the Seraphim like nothing happened, and not to mention that with his Diablo Jambe and Skywalk, Sanji's speed and firepower are no joke. And if you mock him or dare to lay a hand on a woman, well, then Sanji may just become the strongest fighter there is for at least a very short moment. And yet, despite all the amazing stuff he's done recently, he's not even the strongest fire wielder out there, because that person is yet to come. But before we get to them, we have to talk quickly about the toxic menace Magellan. Ranking in at number 23, this often slept on former chief of Impel Down is easily one of the most devastating opponents and defeats that Luffy has ever faced. So thank God he has those stomach issues, because if he didn't, I'm pretty sure One Piece would just be over. Magellan is just a true master of all poisons thanks to his devil fruit, the Venom fruit, and with it may just have the power to even rival the likes of Marine Admirals. So you better not be a rotten criminal, or else Magellan will end your miserable existence, as Luffy and Blackbeard's entire crew had to learn alike. Also, remember when I just said that Sanji didn't have the strongest fire powers? Well, that's of course because at number 22 of this list is literally the Flame Emperor Sabo. Now, we have seen Sabo go toe-to-toe with the likes of admirals, and there is something to be said about him escaping from the Gorosei and Imu alive as well. He is the second in command of the Revolutionary Army for a reason. With truly fearsome haki and a mastery of the so-called Ryu Soken, also known as, as the Dragon Claw Fist, he can crush steel and his enemies with the claw-like strike here. Which means that despite his somewhat goofy appearance and personality, he is absolutely no joke. And honestly, he might even be way higher on this list, but until we actually see him go full out and stomp someone, this is about as high as we can put him, I think. However, one thing that we do know is that the number 21 Bartholomew Kuma is definitely stronger than young Sabo. A pacifist by nature, which is kind of ironic, this big teddy bear packs terrifying power and one of the strongest devil fruits. He's one of the original founders of the Revolutionary Army and a member of the mysterious Buccaneer race, both of which make Kuma a living tank. Wielding his legendary Paw fruit, Kuma has the ability to push anything in his way, and I mean anything. People, buildings, attacks, and even non-physical concepts like memories and emotions or pain. And thanks to this unique broken power, we see just how unbelievably strong Kuma actually is. He takes on the physical and emotional pain of everyone he can and does it with a smile on his face as well. And I mean, we've actually seen on Thriller Bark what happens after taking in one person's pain and the state that it leaves someone like Zoro in. So to imagine Kuma taking on countless people's pain, that takes some true strength and willpower unmatched by anyone in the story so far, I think. In other words, what a legend. Now, admittedly, there is someone with quite similar durability and even greater power. Someone who just so happens to make the number 20 on this list, and that's of course another Straw Hat, the infamous pirate hunter Roronoa Zoro. But this spot isn't just for Zoro alone, and if you're wondering who on earth could share a spot with Zoro, well, I think it's fairly obvious. The other Yonko top commanders who have earth-shaking powers as well. I'm talking about the likes of Marco the Phoenix or Shiryu of the Rain. That's because all three of these fighters are true monsters, but unlike Ryuma, they actually deserve that title. The King of Hell Zoro is pretty obvious. With his fearsome three-sword style, nobody, not even the likes of King are safe, unleashing crazy amounts of Conqueror's Haki, wielding the legendary blade Enma, and a body that just seems to be unable to break. Zoro is truly a demon with bodies on the chopping block. But the same goes for Shiryu too, because this former Marine was the head jailer of Impel Down, meaning that he's capable of handling just about any of the level 6 prisoners. And what does that mean? Well, it means that he is the worst of the worst. Not to mention that he has the second in command spot among the Blackbeard pirates, a master swordsman in his own right, and he has a devil fruit that allows him to become literally invisible. That's just it. He's a nightmare. He'll cut you down before you can even figure out what's happening and that he was even there to begin with. Though someone who's definitely not so easy to cut down is Marco, a nearly untouchable Logia-like phoenix. Marco cannot be stopped, because with his devil fruit powers, not only can he fly, he can also turn into fire. Yeah, he's sort of broken with his mythical devil fruit. And did I forget to mention that his fire heals allies and himself if he wants to? In other words, yeah, that's right. As long as he got stamina left, you can basically not damage him. In other words, there is a reason why he was the second in command to the Whitebeard pirates, and it is because he is one of the all-time strongest fighters on the Grand Line. But even all of that power of these three commanders still doesn't crack the top 20, and it's only going to get a lot more earth-shaking as we go on. So let's get going, because at number 19 we have the fearsome son of Kaido, Yamato, and along him also the Surgeon of Death, Trafalgar Law. Now Yamato is an Oni, and honestly I think that should already tell you of her true power. Not only has she mastered all forms of Haki and advanced them, but with advanced Conqueror's Haki, she can even go toe-to-toe with her father and a Marine Admiral like Ryokugyu. Not to mention that Yamato, you know, on top also happens to have a mythical zone fruit, the Ino Ino no Mi model Okochi no Makami. This is a sacred and godlike being that grants Yamato increased speed, power, and the ability to harness literal ice powers. So, duh, she must be on this list, but what about Law? Well, while Law might at first glance not have the same flashy firepower that Yamato does, what he does have is maybe the single most broken devil fruit in the entire series, a cursed blade, and the tactical genius to use both of them. On top of that, he's also no scrub when it comes to using Haki, being able to hold his own against foes like Big Mom and Kaido alike. In fact, his Haki abilities even helped him fend off the Blackbeard pirates for a while, allowing him to escape. And it's really all thanks to his main saving grace, the Ope Ope no Mi. That's because it gives him the ability to teleport, electrocute, dismantle, and so many other mind-boggling powers. However, skill and options can only get you so far. And I'm sure you're starting to see just how crazy some of these characters can actually get, but we aren't even close to getting to the real stuff ahead. Because the end of this list, now that's literal world-breaking power. But next up first is someone whose name strikes fear into just about anyone, especially the poor Kizaru, Ben Beckman, the second in command of the Red Hair Pirates, who is stealing the number 18 spot on this list. And I have to admit that there's not that much to say yet about good old Beckman here, because he tries his best to stay in the shadows just like his captain does. Although we have seen him fairly casually stopping Admiral Kizaru by simply pointing a gun at him. And really, who needs Conqueror's Haki when you're packing lead? It's pretty clear that he is at the same level as the admirals and definitely deserves to outshine the other Yonko commanders on this list for that reason, at least for now. Well, all except one who we will get to in a little bit. But since I've been talking about them so much, let's chat about the actual admirals. Because at number 17 on the list are specifically admirals Kizaru, Fujitora, and Ryokugyu. Very controversial, I know, but these admirals can just about give anyone a run for their money if we're being honest. I mean, thanks to their truly immense power, they have the abilities to turn into light itself, summon meteors, and manipulate gravity, and uproot an entire nation. And really, if their power came anywhere near close to their confidence, it would be game over. I mean, Green Bull and Kizaru are both confident enough to square up against the Yonko, and while Shanks did end up messing up Green Bull pretty badly, Kizaru fared quite well against Luffy and his crew for far longer than we expected. For a very long time, they were the true benchmark for top tier power in One Piece, and once you're Admiral level, you've truly become a nightmare nightmare of the seas. But speaking of nightmares, it is now Big Mom time. Though really, what is there to say that hasn't been said already about Charlotte Linlin? I mean, she's a Yonko, leads one of the most destructive and powerful armies on the planet, and oh yeah, she ate her stepmother. Nani? Okay, admittedly that last one is a little bit odd, but it is kind of important to the story because that's how she received her otherworldly powerful devil fruit. You know, why eat the fruit when you can eat the person who ate the fruit? Smart. Her very unique devil fruit allows her to give parts of her soul to objects and create literal life. So this is already insane, but not only that, the homies are actually quite scary. All I'm saying is you better kiss those homies goodnight or they will end you. But besides just a godlike devil fruit, she also has incredibly overwhelming haki and a gigantic body with immense power and those stunning good looks. Honestly, it's hard to imagine there are 15 people stronger than Big Mom. However, one that should be no surprise is of course the king of the beasts, Kaido here. I mean, obviously this guy was gonna be on this list because Kaido is the poster boy for raw power in the franchise, which admittedly makes his place at number 15 a little bit ridiculous. I mean, he's got a body and haki so broken that Zoro was only able to inflict a single small wound on him at full power output. And if that's not a low diff, then I don't know what is. With his fearsome Conqueror's haki, his legendary Azure Dragon Fruit, and his Oni body, Kaido would probably win close to any one-on-one fight when it comes to raw power. After all, they do say in the One Piece world that it's pretty safe to bet on Kaido for a reason. In fact, he may just have been the strongest pirate of the modern era. The jury still really is out on that, and while I personally think that he's kind of washed at this point, I think there's no one who could complain if you put him into the top 5 of the list, but due to our next entry, he's gonna be locked up at number 15. Because coming in hot and bouncing into number 14 is the man of the hour, Monkey D. Luffy, well on his way to the top of this list and becoming Pirate King, but still with some room to grow. I'm 100% convinced that once the series actually wraps up, Luffy will be the unquestionable number 1, but until then, let's go over what he's capable of right now and see who is still in his way. And to start with, Luffy's rubber powers are of course nothing short of absolutely bonkers. I mean, come on, he can... And that's not enough, just wait until he goes... And we haven't even talked yet about his insanely broken haki, which when combined with his devil fruit powers lets him... Alright, but for real now, Luffy has the craziest strength, durability, speed, and willpower we have seen in the entire story, splitting the skies with Kaido and defeating the unbeatable, happily fighting the Gorosei and Admirals with a broad grin on his face, and he really lives to fight. And honestly, I just cannot wait until we see him finally kick into his high final gears. However, while I'm busy imagining what that next level Luffy will look like, you should get a load of this guy. Because in case you don't know, that's Marshall D. Teach, otherwise known as Blackbeard, and he's ranked one spot above Luffy at unlucky number 13 because, well, at the moment at least, I would say he's definitely stronger. Not physically, I think, but with his devil fruits. I mean, he's easily the most threatening pirate and person alive right now, because with both of his devil fruits, Teach can destroy an island with ease. In fact, the power of his earthquake fruit lets him break the world itself and crush his enemies in the process. And if you thought that they could just fight back with their own crazy devil fruit powers, think again, because his darkness fruit is the true counter to any other devil fruit. And thanks to both of these, his potential truly rivals that of Luffy's to become Pirate King, and it's pretty safe to say that their fight that is bound to happen will break the internet, the One Piece world, and until then, my own imagination. Luckily enough though, in the meantime, I don't have to imagine the intense powers of the Golden Buddha and former Admiral and Fleet Admiral Sengoku. That's because we have seen Sengoku at Marineford doing some truly broken and brutal stuff like crushing Blackbeard in the palm of his hand, but the real power of his lies in his younger days, of course. That's why he just has to be at least number 12 on this list, and honestly, during his prime time as an Admiral and Vice Admiral, Sengoku was dealing with threats threats like Roger, Whitebeard, and the Golden Line Shiki. In other words, the most savage pirates ever to sail the high seas, and he kept up with sheer willpower, his fists, and his giant golden afro. And I'm not kidding here, because with his Hito no Mi model Buddha, the second other mythical human fruit that we know next to Luffy, he can grow to a colossal size, flattening his enemies like pancakes with his golden shockwaves. But there is one pirate he could probably never catch, because our number 11 spot is the Dark King Rayleigh. I mean, Sengoku is practically Garp's right-hand man, so it does make sense that the Pirate King's right hand would be ranked at least slightly above him. And honestly, it's got a lot to do with the fact that we actually have seen Rayleigh put in some real work to prove his worth in the story. Whether it's hockey, sword skills, or even just straight up throwing hands, Rayleigh is a true menace. Being a master of all conquerors, armament, and observation hockey, he is absolutely no joke. In fact, his mere presence can drive off Yonko and Marine admirals like Kizaru and Blackbeard. But much more importantly, I just have to mention, he swam through the calm belt? Like, what on earth? Okay, for those of you who don't realize just how ridiculous a feat that actually is, the calm belt is the nesting ground for the massive sea kings, the giant sea creatures that can destroy entire ships by just splashing around. And yeah, Rayleigh just casually is doing some strokes through that entire water. Not even mentioning the fact that the distance from Sabaody to Amazon Lily is probably hundreds of miles. So, what a man. And if that's what number 11 on this list can do, just wait until you hear about the final 10 people, because yeah, this list is finally getting to the real big guns. And so let's get to our top 10 now at last. And where else to start than with the infamous Marine turncoat Kuzan. And now, you may be surprised to see a simple Yonko captain and a former admiral this high on the list, but just wait. I promise, this man is ice cold and does deserve the hype. To begin with his ice fruit, Kuzan simply doesn't have the same weaknesses that most devil fruit users do. Able to manipulate and freeze the literal ocean and just about everyone else in his path while doing so, this is a truly beyond broken ability. You know, we've seen him face Yonko, their commanders, and the current fleet admiral time after time, and not once has he ever seemed anywhere out of his league. Not to mention that he's been Garp's #1 student, someone who can crush battleships with his fists like it's nobody's business. So say what you will about the other admirals that we ranked way lower on this list, but Kuzan, he is one cold-hearted savage, and I think way more powerful than most people realize. But still, I do have to admit, even he is still far from being the top guy, because soaring in above at number 9 is the Golden Lion himself, Shiki. Oh, did you forget about Shiki? Because this former Rocks pirate turned basically Yonko had the potential to rival the likes of Roger and Whitebeards in their primes. The first ever person to escape the maximum security prison Impel Down, Shiki deserves a spot on this list for that feat alone. Because, I mean, remember, it took Luffy and the combined efforts of Ivankov, Jinbei, Crocodile, and over 200 other prisoners, plus technically the Blackbeard crew as well, to pull that off. Big man Shiki here, meanwhile, was just an army of one. And to be fair, we don't fully yet know how strong he truly is, but being a threat that took the combined efforts of Garp and Sengoku to hold off, plus battles one-on-one against Roger, well, you're nothing short of a miracle. So stay gold, Shiki, you deserve a spot on this list. And is it getting a little bit hot in here? Someone turn up the heat. Oh, no, it's just this guy. Number 8, the rage-fueled Fleet Admiral Akainu. This hot-headed warrior of absolute justice is clearly one of the endgame threats in One Piece, unless there is some sort of really surprising twist at the end. His power is merciless. He'll put a hole through just about anyone in his way with his primal power, baking anyone into a donut. His magma fruit is pure destruction, and there is no other fruit that comes even close to its burning power, making it the most destructive devil fruit in existence. He's a fleet admiral with haki rivaling that of literal Yonkos, and it's a code red whenever this living volcano erupts.
Krakatoa!
and yet it just feels right to put the 5 Elder Stars, the 𝗦𝗧𝗥𝗢𝗚𝗦, above Akainu at number 7. After all, they are the only people that he actually answers to. And while they may just look like old men on the outside, these ghosts of the One Piece world are truly, literally living nightmares, embodying various yokai or Japanese demon spirits. These 5 have quickly shown themselves to be truly devilish figures on a completely new level of power. Their mysterious transformations allow them to teleport, regenerate, explode heads with a simple glance, and they seem to use some sort of satanic magic. And we're not even talking about their fully awakened states or their insane haki. These 5 are literal kaiju type characters, some of the largest and most fearsome opponents the Straw Hats have ever faced. In fact, they even make the giants of Elbaf look kind of tiny. And honestly, they probably could have easily taken up 5 of the top spots on this list one by one, but instead let's do a little inside old man speedrun ranking here. And hey, lucky you, it's a list within a list. How meta. Number 5 is gonna be Saint Topman Workery. This big pig is fearsome, but also hasn't shown himself to do anything that crazy yet. Then at number 4, we have Saint J. Garcia Saturn, and we have actually seen a lot from this Spider-Man, but nothing that breaks the One Piece world on its own, even though, again, these are all incredibly powerful. At number 3, we will put Saint Shepherd Jupiter, coming straight out of Dune, because this sandworm could conquer islands on his own, but compared to his buddies, he's just kind of in the middle, I would say. At number 2, we have Saint Ethan Baron Venus Juro, a skeleton horse with a sword cutting souls at supersonic speed. I think enough said there, he is also probably a really busted swordsman. But finally, at number 1, I think we have Saint Marcus Mars, named after the literal god of war and overseeing the section of environment in the world government. This Itsumade can fly, crush foes, and may just actually feed on a literal despair itself. A truly demonic form. But much more importantly, if the 𝗦𝗧𝗥𝗢𝗚𝗦 with their freshly revealed insane demonic powers don't even crack the top 5, you know this list is finally about to get absolutely wild. But don't worry, we're gonna keep the controversies coming, because sharing the spot at number 6 is the legendary pair of rival pirates, Dracula Mihawk and Red Hair Shanks. And quite frankly, they are absolute units. Both pirate legends who are truly unmatched in their real strength. Red Hair Shanks is practically the god of haki with advanced mastery over all forms of it and such an immense aura that he can paralyze admiral level opponents from hundreds of miles away. Oh, and did I mention that he can shut down other people's future sight haki with his own conquerors, which just goes to show how monstrous this man really is. And as for his rival, the world's strongest swordsman, well, I mean, the title kind of speaks for itself. Mihawk has cut icebergs and war fleets with a single slash, challenged Yonkos to a standstill, and has been set up as an endgame opponent for the Straw Hats. And let's be real, with the title of Hawkeyes, it's kind of clear that his future sight and observation haki are just gonna be next level. I'm incredibly confident that these two are the strongest of the modern era. However, they are still nowhere near close to the unspeakable power of the lost past. Meaning that let's go back to the infamous God Valley incident to find our next two contenders at number 5. The world's strongest men, Edward Newgate, aka Whitebeard, and the captain of the Holy Knights, Figureland Garling. And honestly, Whitebeard just speaks for himself, right? I mean, he is just the GOAT, rivaling the likes of the Pirate King Roger, earthquakes that could tear open the Navy headquarters while he was terminally ill, Ace, Marco, and Blackbeard as his captains. I mean, it's safe to say that this former Rocks pirate is one of the all-time strongest beings to ever exist in the world of One Piece, which of course makes ranking Figureland Garling together with him even more wild, admittedly. And while yeah, we don't know for sure, there's actually a bunch of evidence pointing that the man who scarred Whitebeard in the first place at God Valley was actually none other than Figureland Garling here. After all, Film Red all but confirms that Shanks is related to him as his son or nephew or something, and Whitebeard clearly remembers his face, saying that he looks like him, which means Garling, and considering that Garling is still alive and well today, that means at the very least he brought Whitebeard to a stalemate, but sounds more like that was a very even fight. He seems to be a master swordsman and trusted by the secret rulers of the world to dish out divine punishment even among celestial dragons. That is to say that among heaven and earth, he may just be the honored one. Well, that is until Monkey D. Garp showed up and stole the number 4 spot from him. Oh yeah, you thought Garp was missing from this list? No, you're wrong. This guy is insane. That's one macho man right there. No swords, no devil fruits, no crazy mentor, just straight up an unbreakable will and unbreakable fists. Even in his old age right now, we see him level towns with his Galaxy Impact Fist, nearly take down the Blackbeard pirates by himself, and throw cannonballs like it's tennis balls. He even very seriously threatens to kill Akainu, something that Sengoku seems to believe was more than possible, having to fight really hard to keep him from murdering the Admiral. In other words, this man in his prime clearly is closer to Roger than anyone else in terms of strength, and Roger actually acknowledges that himself. I mean, why else would he think of entrusting Ace to Garp? I mean, he told Whitebeard the secrets of the world, but didn't really think that he'd take care of his own kid. I'm not really buying it. I think he knew that Garp was easily the strongest person alive once he actually died himself. And of course, since you're probably wondering when I'm finally gonna talk about him as well, I would have to argue the exact same for his son, Dragon the Revolutionary. After all, he is the world's most wanted man and father of Monkey D. Luffy. Like father, like grandfather, like son. Dragon is undoubtedly one of the all-time strongest characters in the franchise, so I'm unofficially placing him next to his dear old dad on this list because, again, we just have not seen much of him. He's just refusing to actually show up in the story, meaning that we've talked about him more than enough already. So let's talk about the elephant in the room, the Pirate King, Gold D. Roger, taking the bronze medal of the One Piece world, taking the number 3 spot on this list. Of course, single-handedly maybe the most legendary character to sail the seas, Roger is nearly in a league of his own. Powerful enough to defeat the likes of Shiki, Whitebeard, Oden, and Garp on numerous occasions, he's far beyond the Dark King Rayleigh and is, narratively speaking, the man to beat for Luffy as well. In fact, purely by definition alone, he just has to be nearly the greatest fighter in the entire world, because it just wouldn't make sense for the king to lose to anyone. Well, except maybe to our number 2 spot, the mysterious Shadow of Death, 𝗦𝗧𝗥𝗢𝗦𝗧. Basically the Davy Jones of the One Piece world, Rox is about as horrifying as they come. A man who nearly conquered the entire world only to be brought down last minute by the combined efforts of number 3 and number 4, Roger and Garp. In fact, Rox was strong enough to keep a crew of Whitebeard, Big Mom, Kaido, Shiki, and several other truly infamously powerful pirates at bay, and not just that, led them as a captain. In other words, yeah, the captain of the Rox Pirates himself may just be the strongest person to ever live. And the only reason I can confirm that 100% is, well, we still have to see what he actually did and what he actually looks like. But on Legend and what we've seen so far alone and heard from other characters, he should maybe even be on the top of this list. But unfortunately, the number 1 spot of strongest characters in One Piece belongs to 2 other characters. One of them is the truly mysterious secret ruler of the world, Emu. A true mystery, this Phantom Emperor has to be the all-time strongest. Someone who with one word can remove an entire island from existence by himself. Most likely a warrior from the Void Century, we actually know very little still about Nerona Emu. He secretly rules over the Gorosei and Figgle and Garling, and if that wasn't enough, oh yeah, he also runs the entire world. With inky black arrows of death, he can literally kill off opponents in seconds, only rivaled by the legendary Joy Boy, who does share this number 1 spot. These 2 figures, the Sun God and the Phantom Devil, are 2 ancient titans villains of legend. People whose names and powers are simply mythological. They wield powers truly unimaginable to the point that most assume they are fiction or just straight up literal gods. And who of these two is actually stronger? It's kind of hard to say. Emu is the one still standing, but we don't know if they ever fought straight up or how Joy Boy was even defeated. Maybe he was betrayed. All I do know is that they are the peak of power in the world of One Piece, and Joy Boy has returned now, so we might finally get to see. But more importantly, if you want to know even more about Emu, Rocks, and all of the other terrifying and fantastic villains on this list, check out this video here on every One Piece villain in One Piece. They are truly vile creatures and very, very well written. With that being said, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. It does make a huge difference. And otherwise, I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.